Hey guys, good morning. I wanted to come on today and kind of go over a quote that I posted yesterday that is pretty powerful because it's something that a lot of us do by accident as far as idolizing other people without seeing the value and our worth. And instead, we're always grasping to look for others for that success. Anyways, that quote, if you didn't see it, was you are just as deserving as the person you idolize. Um, and with that said, just like I explained, it's some of us can do it healthy and idolize someone and take it as a positive thing and not get consumed by it or think that we lack in our own life, if that makes sense. So it's something that I thought would be a great topic to talk about because we all have something amazing about us. And we definitely don't want to see those get kind of pushed to the side because we're idolizing someone else. Um, I'm going to grab my book really quick, so hold on just a sec. So I'm going to take some sections of my book that I always grab it because I think it's such a great guide for things that aren't these big, huge items in your life that you have to overcome or that you have to work on. You can use my book for these little things and just reread it when you need to or different sections of it. And I thought this, it kind of helps me when I do these look through my book because I was guided to make my book. And sometimes I read it and I can't believe I wrote that, or I forget that, I need to stay on top of things and I need to remind myself that I need to stay worthy and look at myself in the mirror and give myself kudos. And it's really important for us to do that and teach that to others that are struggling and that, it's so easy to look at someone else's life and idolize them when I think a lot of us forget that people look at us and idolize us. We all have the same tools at our fingertips starting out. We're all born, right? Yes, some of us get the shitty end of the stick in some parts of our life, and that's okay. But it doesn't mean that it defines you. It doesn't mean that you can't overcome them. It's all in who you are personally and how you react to things. Um, so always know that people are looking at you and idolizing what you have, and it might be stuff that you take for granted daily. It's things that might have been hiccups for you along the way, and it was a weakness for you, and it might be the shitty part of your life, but then you see. You've overcome it, and people see that. They see the strength in you, the part that the aftermath of it, and they see that you're standing up with your head up and that you have yourself together. And not saying that all of us do. We do have that period of our life that we're down on the ground and we're asking for a hand up, or maybe not at all. We just want to quit. um, and we've all been there. Like I've been there. There's been times in my life and my obstacles that the last thing I want to do is talk about it or be happy or be positive. um, I just want to tell everyone to go screw themselves. So I've had my own, custody battles and um, unfairness in my eyes, and it's really hard to deal with those things. And what I didn't realize is people going through the same thing. Am I'm a Taurus, so I'm very stubborn and I'm usually the one that always helps everyone, and which that's my passion. That's what I love. Um, but during my darkest days and my hardest times, um, I would only show that darkness to myself. I usually stayed pretty positive out in public, and that's the part that people saw, and people idolized that. But I don't think people realized how much I was hurting behind closed doors. I was never one to show my emotions and show my weakness. And so you just have to be careful when you're idolizing people, because you can do it in a healthy way and you can do it in a non-healthy way. So make sure you have those boundaries set, and make sure you're identifying what that idolizing that person or situation or whatnot, make sure you have that identified so you don't go down a path of trying to keep up with the Joneses. Doing things that you wouldn't do, or buying things that you wouldn't because they have it or they're doing this. So now I feel like I have to do this. I see a lot of people, they follow, but you need to be that leader, because in our world right now, if you haven't noticed, it's going to shit. And people are reaching for stuff like this. People are reaching for people to lead in a positive, happy, loving atmosphere. So you need to be that person. If you have that strength, I ask all of us to come together, and we really do need to be that strength for the people that are really hurting right now. And so that's just kind of part of when you're idolizing other people, just kind of keeping it on the straight and narrow and identifying that you're not getting too deep into someone else's stuff or idolizing them so much that you're forgetting how great you are, and that people are watching you. People are idolizing you and what you've been through, your story. And even though that it's your story, you might not think that you're worth anything, but other people are watching you and other people do idolize you. So don't think that you're the only, you're not someone important, because you are. One of the things, how we get to that negative idolizing and getting to the point where we don't feel like we're worthy enough to be idolized, or that we're nothing, no one would look at us. I'm just going to read on in my book, Healing Within, Loving Throughout, in the chapter Why section. Okay, it's page 49. Says, most of us have been living a robotic life, as I call it. I call it robotic because of the upbringing we have that teaches us to go to school, go to college, and get a job. And along the way, the dreams that we used to have dissolve, and we do what is expected of us instead of what we truly have passion for. So I think this kind of, when we see one of the things that we idolize in other people is that they're living their best life that we can see. On the outside, we don't know what's going on with someone on the inside. So that's another thing that you always have to be aware of when you're idolizing someone else, and it's in a negative way, is you are seeing the outer shell. We always give our best selves to everyone, but we do have the behind the closed door, and it's a shit show, right? So just remember that, and remember that you can live your dream as well, but somewhere along the line, you kind of forgot what you wanted and what kind of life you wanted to explore and be a part of. And that's where I come in and help you refine that, and know that your dreams, just because you have a family and a husband or wife or a significant other, it doesn't mean that you and your dreams and your whys don't matter. You need to make sure that you're happy 100%, because it's not fair to put that on someone else to make you happy, if that makes sense. So don't rely on someone else to fill your cup, because if you can't even do it for yourself, then why should someone else put their time and effort into you? So always make sure that you are doing what drives you. And if that person's going to be along the side of you, great. If not, it's something that you can do by yourself. You don't have to have your hand held the whole time when you are trying to live your dream. And so one of the exercises that I thought would be good that you guys could try, and this is in my book as well, it's on page 50 in the why section. You can get a pen and paper, and I'll just kind of ask you what it is, and then you can kind of do this with different things after the video, different things that are important to you. The question is, it's time for an exercise. Get out a pen and some paper, and we will do this together. I will use my own personal example so you can see how to get right down to the root of each question you will ask yourself. So this is to get to the root of what's going to make you idolize yourself. What's going to make it so you look in the mirror and you are so proud of yourself for where you have come and where you're going, and that you listen to yourself and your dreams, because at the end of the day, it should be about what your heart's telling you. The question is, what is something you truly want in life? And this is something that you need to write down, because when I do this exercise in the book, one thing when I worked with people one-on-one, when we dissected their whys, a lot of people would just stop with that answer after that question. And that's not where you stop. You get to the point where you get down to the very root, and where you have that attachment. You now have an attachment from your heart to that why, because it finally touched your soul. I could answer that question and it not really faze me emotionally. And that's when you know you haven't got to the root, and you need to keep asking yourself every answer that you give, you need to ask why. Why? So one of the answers that I gave, 10 to 12, 13, 14 years ago, I answered, I want to be a stay-at-home mom. Okay, well, that's just getting to the surface, and you need to go deeper to that, because I have no emotions to that. So you ask why. So if you're working with someone, this is not just a video just for us, but if you're working with other people and you're trying to help them as well, you're going to go deeper. You're going to ask why. And then I would say, so I can be home with my kids more. So right there, this is where people usually stop, because they think that the question has been answered, but it's not answered to the very root. So let's keep going. Okay, the question, why is it important to be home with your kids? Answer, so daycare isn't raising my children and experiencing their firsts instead of me. And then I would ask again, why is it important for you to stay home? And now you can see that you just keep going until that person has that flicker of emotion that, oh my gosh, that just hit me. And now I have that attachment emotionally to that why. And kind of goes with the same thing of what I'm talking to you guys about idolizing other people. Find your own dreams, so that way you can idolize yourself and you can be proud of yourself when you wake up in the morning. When you idolize other people in a negative way, and it's not in a negative way, it's more of you're not seeing your self-worth and what other people see in you. So it's important that if you've lost that you do these different things that I'm suggesting. It will help you. It's just trying to find who you are and what's important to you, and you creating that by taking action steps and doing whys like that, and keep going. And like, I have a whole page of it until you go down where your eyes start watering and you're just like, oh shit, that hit me. That's what you're gonna do. And it's important that you do this, just because it's so easy to lose yourself when you're dealing with taking care of kids, when you're being a spouse or a significant other, or you're just in a lifestyle where you take care of other people all the time. We lose ourselves, and it's easy to do because a lot of us are caretakers, or we have to do what we have to do. Well, then we lose ourselves. So this is a good way to come back and find out, what you want in life. And a lot of us, we're getting older, and our dreams and our wants and our whys have changed. So it's important to regroup and check this out. When you've succeeded in other things where you feel like, what am I supposed to do now? This is a great way to find that knowing of, okay, now where do I go? Another thing that I'd like to go over, I've said it before, is when you are to that point that you are so in love with yourself, and that you can idolize yourself or be proud that other people idolize you, is when you look in the mirror and you can say, I love you, to yourself by looking at yourself, and it not be uncomfortable anymore. So the first time I started getting into personal development, my sister is actually the one that told me to do that. And like I said, I'm not one to show emotions, and I'm very hard on the outside. I've gotten better, but back then I was very, I had my walls up, and they were very strong, up and strong, and nothing was going to get through. So when she told me to do that, it was not so nice. And I was like, go F yourself. Because I'm like, I am not going to tell myself I love you. That's weird and uncomfortable, and that's just weird. And she's like, okay, fine. So one day I was in the bathroom, and I was getting ready for the day and I decided to try it when no one was around. My boys were, I think they were still sleeping or something, but no one was around. So I tried it and it was the most uncomfortable, weirdest experience. And I did not like it at all. And it was just weird because I was just telling myself and I was looking at myself in the mirror. And I had such a hard time with that, which right there is a problem. And that's when you know you have shit to work through. So I did it. And then I started realizing, and then I think I even cried about how horrible it felt to say that to myself because it was just weird. And I didn't ever let a lot of people in. So I never allowed that love to just like, embrace me. So me saying it to myself was just odd. And so I started working on myself and started getting more into the personal development. And that's kind of how I got into what I'm doing now is if I had that big of a shell around me and I know I'm not the only one, if I could put it in easier terms and different exercises that you could grab a pretty cheap book and use it not just once. You read it and put it on a shelf. This is something you can use anytime and pull up different chapters. You don't have to go in order. You can use it when you need it. And so it kind of helped me. That's what made me make my book was, okay, I need something. When I was at this point, I need something that's going to work with me that I can kind of do behind closed doors. And so I can let those emotions kind of, shed and I can let those loose without everyone around. And so that's why I put the exercises in and the different aspects of each chapter is because I went through each one on my personal development journey. So it does, I hope it helps. And I do have that, that part is on page 58. It's the third chapter down, or the second paragraph down. And so if you want to work on that, you can. But you could be as stubborn as I was and be like, I am not doing that because that's what I did. Get to the point where you love yourself enough that you idolize yourself, that you're proud that other people idolize you, because no matter what you think, there's always someone looking at you and idolizing you for who you are, for how you portray yourself, and how you react to things. And so I'm not saying that we're all perfect, but don't sell yourself short in thinking that people don't think that about you, because there's always someone looking and someone watching. And so just know that you're worthy enough to be just as amazing as the person that you find so amazing and you think that their life is so put together and that they're living their dream. Because in your own aspect, if you're doing your stuff, so are you. You're just doing it in a different way. So don't sell yourself short. Don't put all your energy or all your thought process in someone else and the things that they're doing. Because remember, behind closed doors, it's always a different story. So just love and light. And I just kind of want to end with this so we're not taking up too much time. Keep these short and sweet. You do have what it takes, and you can either be your biggest strength or your biggest weakness. Right now, you better be choosing the latter. So be your biggest strength. Don't be your biggest weakness. We have enough people that judge us. We have enough people looking at us and judging us. And try not to be that person. Every time you want to judge someone, try and, bring it back or twist it with some positive vibes. If something is going on that maybe they need some positive vibes sent their way because maybe they're not doing something right or in their best or highest good. So I do try and catch myself and switch it around. We are human. But don't judge yourself harshly either. Remember your soul. I always look at it this way. I always think of my soul as this little girl in this cute little dress and just with no care in the world or no issues that she's even worried about anything, that she's just here to play and have fun and be loved. And she doesn't know anything. So treat your soul like that and put your little soul, put some emotion to that, just kind of like I did with me and how I've attached like this little girl as my little soul keeper. And every time I want to be rude or I'm not being very kind to myself, I have this vision of her in my head, and it kind of helps me stay on track, and I delete things, that negative self-talk and whatnot. So just try and it's emotions, set emotions to things, and it will be so much easier for you to conquer and accomplish. And I think for now that's as good as it's going to get on this topic. I hope it helps some of you. I hope it brings some light into finding what your purpose is, and creating those whys to find that purpose and what's important to you right now. A lot of us are in our later life, and things are changing. Kids are leaving. Kids are not, spouses have left. There's just different aspects in every life. So why don't you just try and see what it is? Just see what you write, and ask your angels and your God, or whoever you talk to, ask them to guide you when you're writing those things, and write topics. And then if you have my book, go through that in the why section and break it down. And you ask yourself every answer, you ask that why, and you break it down until you attach that emotion to it. And that's where you're going to find your truest heart's desire of what you want to do and where you should be. And again, just make sure you put up that protection shield every morning. I'm going to remind you guys every time I'm on here, when you wake up in the morning, put that protection bubble around you, that you do not allow negative energy enter you and your bubble and your space, but that you still allow you to help people that need it. So again, until next time, I will post another event, and you guys just keep on watch. And if you guys can, please share this with anyone that you might think that could benefit, or that is struggling right now, or just needs some good motivation kick in the ass, because I'm here to do that. So anyways, have a great day. Have a great rest of your week. And I send all my love to you guys. Bye.